Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Once again, this is Rick Robinson with Zoom into Books, the premier author interview site on the internet. You want to hear from authors and their latest writings, what they're throwing out there in books. Come on in and listen to us. We are here today at the American Library Association annual conference in Philadelphia, PA, the 2025 edition. Just an absolute wonderful time, wonderful place, meeting a lot of good people. And I'm meeting today a new friend, Dr. Judith Peck. Judith, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's a very interesting conference here.
Isn't it though? I mean, there are so many different things that are going on at the American Library Association. When you come to these things, you go all the way to scholarly work to comic books. Well, I shouldn't say comic books. They're now graphic novels.
That's true.
That's right. They're graphic novels. We don't call them comic books
the
anymore.
The nomenclature is everything, right?
That's right. So, you are the author of this wonderful book called Dynamic Play and Creative Movement, Powering the Body and the Brain. What do you mean by that? What's the context of this book? What are you doing here?
Well, dynamic refers to movement, and my book talks about how movement is so essential in children's learning. From the very beginning of birth, through on, they learn through physical movement, and so dynamic play, connotes that. And I deal with how movement is so essential in children's learning.
Now, I hear that you're also, along with being an author, and I assume you're an exercise physiologist and looking at some of this stuff, but you're also an artist. You're a sculptor.
I'm a sculptor, right? Yes,
Sculpting human form, body?
Yes, and have a show right now at the Mawa Museum, a retrospective of 38 sculptures in bronze, wood, and stone, and steel that had been exhibited at the Dag Hammarskjöld Plaza, the gateway to the UN in New York. So that's on now.
That is fascinating. That's wonderful. And the reason I say that is because I'm trying to think there's a great connection here of you sculpting form and talking about the exercise dynamic of form.
Well, Rick, you happen to hit on something that's very interesting, because I was teaching creative movement, and doing sculpture at the same time. But the idea of the physicality of being a sculptor is very physical,
Oh, very
it's
much
not
so.
like painting a picture. You are with your hands, with your whole body, lifting and working that way. So there really is a correlation between creative movement in my teaching and my sculpture, all dynamic, and that is the title of the book, Dynamic Play. But I really want to talk about how children learn.
Oh, I want to get back to. I want to get back to this. I'm kind of fascinated by the fact that you're a sculptor.
They're not aware of how important the actual physical is in learning from birth on.
Well, we've gotten to a point in America where there isn't the emphasis when you and I were growing up that there was on gym class, on outdoor activity. On kids now sitting on the couch and playing video games.
Right.
So, what do you want? Is this for a parent, obviously, to take a look at?
Absolutely,
or is
it's for parents and educators.
Okay.
Actually, there are 3 areas that absolutely are the basis of children's learning, since they are in the cradle and looking at the mobile that's going on. The physical energy. A baby, all the limbs are moving, arms, legs, head, everything is moving from birth on, and that is the physicality of it. Then there's the imagination. They don't know what things are, and so their imagination is at work to imagine what everything is.
Yeah, I can still sneak in my duck impersonation, and my grandson thinks it is a duck. So I mean, yeah, we still can go there with that.
Well, I don't know about that part, but the third area, of course, is their expression. The need for actual self-expression. And so the book really contains how to use all those 3 ingredients to learn. And I don't think people are aware that this is how children learn and have fun learning from birth on. So why shouldn't we use this in learning?
Right. So what would a parent? I have 2 grandchildren, both one barely one and one about to become one. What should their parents be doing right now at that age to encourage the physicality of movement and dynamics?
I can't say at 1 year old they would be able to use this book. No. But once they're in preschool through the elementary grades, the book offers wonderful opportunities for improvisation and interpretation of everything, from sports, from nature, from what goes on in the world, their own experience, how to interpret meaning from that. In other words, use what kids have been using all along to learn, to accept it. These are, I call them endowments, actually. Endowments. There's 3 endowments that children are born with. Why not use them for education and learning, which children have done? Physical education, imagination, and self-expression. And so this book deals with how to use those ingredients to expand what the child already knows, to understand their experiences.
Give me one example of what a teacher would use or a parent would use to encourage this dynamic movement you talk about.
Well, first of all, you want to make some connection between your imagination as the grandfather or the parent and the teacher and the child's imagination. How do you connect with that? Once you do, you have a picture to share between you. And so you can easily do that by figuring out a way that the child can express what he is thinking, what he's doing. And we do that with improvisations. There are many improvisations throughout this book that you can do. You take a walk in the park. A child takes a walk in the park with a child, observes the bird, observes the squirrel, what the squirrel is doing, observe what the chipmunk is doing, how fast it runs, and improvise that yourself with your body. How can you interpret how the sculpture, how the squirrel is acting or the chipmunk? And once you have absorbed that with your body improvisationally, you remember it, Rick. You do not forget it. Your body has already absorbed the information and using it.
One of the things that's great about this session and here being with the American Library Association is that Mom's Choice plays a big role here. Mom's Choice is a organization that recognizes books and authors that really take the time to focus in on issues that parents are looking at. This is one of the silver medals, right? For the Mom's Choice Award.
Yes, it does, because it's recognized that both educators and parents, once they have accepted the fact of these 3 things I'm talking about, physical energy, imagination, and self-expression as being important in learning, now the book details ways in which you can use it. First of all, ways in which you can use your body, your arms, your head, your torso, your legs, and in it making sure that you can be physical in your interpretations. Then you share ideas together. What does the bird look like to allow it to fly? Well, it has wings, it has a beak to be able to secure food, to nourish itself, and all this. And through that, and through the bodily movement, you interpret that physicality of the bird with your own physicality, and you understand more than you ever could before.
Is that how we're empowering the brain as well as the body?
Well, this book was published originally Late to the Sun by Prentice Hall. Since then, my observations were anecdotal. How come I have 100 children who are engaged, who understand, who are having fun and learning? And then I wrote the book. But after that, I've understood how the brain is actually functioning with those 3 areas: physical movement, imagination, and self-expression. And so this new book incorporates all the new brain research too. Not all of it, because there's too much, but incorporates that, so now we know why that is so effective in learning.
Judith, hold up a copy of the book here. Tell us how, okay, folks are looking now. How do I find Dr. Judith? How do I find you on the internet? And how do I find this book?
Well, first of all, Routledge publishes, Routledge, and that's It's a division of Taylor and Francis. So they are the publishers for this book. I am Judith Peck. I'm a professor emeritus of art, and therefore they could find it through me, but also through Routledge. They can just put in Routledge.com, Routledge, and find this book, Dynamic Play and Creative Movement, Powering Body and Brain, and then they can purchase it. Often they have big discounts, like if you buy 2 or 3, it's a 25% discount. So I know I'm pushing Routledge in a sense, but that's the best way to buy it, through the publisher.
That is perfect. And if you're in New York City, make sure you go down and see your sculpts doctor. I'd love to go down and see the sculpts. Thank you for being with us. This has been Zoom into Books, live from the American Library Association in Philadelphia, PA. Doctor, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Rick. Pleasure to be here.